Tonight, live from MacArthur Stadium in Syracuse, doubleheader action between the Syracuse Chiefs and the Ottawa Lynx. And a very pleasant evening, everybody. I'm Dan Hort, along with former Major League pitcher Steve Grilli, and we're delighted to have you watching our coverage of Syracuse Chiefs baseball. Bad weather means good value for baseball fans, and because of the nasty weather early in the season, we have the doubleheader tonight between Syracuse and Ottawa. And it might come at a good time for Syracuse, Steve, because the Chiefs have been playing good ball lately and have at least a chance to gain some ground in the standings tonight.
Well, Dan, in the last 10 games, the Chiefs have won 6-4 record over the last 10 games. That puts them in real good position. If they can win this doubleheader here today, they'll only be 3 games out.
Good news for Syracuse is that the hottest team in the league, Norfolk, is in the other division. No one has been able to run away and hide so far in the Eastern Division. In addition to having 2 ball games tonight, a couple of 7-inning games, we'll have another special treat as fans here at MacArthur Stadium, and those of you watching on TV tonight will see a former American League All-Star in action for Syracuse.
Well, Dwayne Ward, he's done well for the Toronto Blue Jays. He's down here on rehabilitation, and we're going to get a treat and get to see him tonight.
Ward was the Blue Jays' most valuable pitcher a couple of years ago. He missed all of last season with shoulder trouble. He's expected to pitch about an inning in Game 1 tonight. Again, 2 games for the price of 1 coming up here from MacArthur Stadium. Stay tuned. We'll be back with action from Game 1 in a moment on your neighborhood network, Cable 13.
You guys made my night. It was better than any sitcom I've ever watched.
Go west! Scenery's free. Where I come from. What you bargain for? And then some.
You can't top the taste of slow roast. Unless, of course, you top it with a blanket of tangy melted cheddar and top all that with a 99-cent price. It's the Arby's melt, and right now it's under $1, but not for long.
The clocks are ticking. Find your trusty steed. Look for the hat. Better go full speed.
Arby's melt now just 99 cents.
Welcome back to MacArthur Stadium, everybody. We are in the bottom of the 3rd inning in Game 1 of our doubleheader. Joe Liss has just grounded out to end the 3rd. And that will give us an opportunity to give you the lineups and so forth and set the stage for what we've seen thus far through 3 innings. It has not been pretty so far for Syracuse. Our score at the end of 3, Ottawa 6 and Syracuse 1. There are the totals, 6 runs on only 4 hits and 1 error for the Ottawa Lynx. Syracuse with 1 run on 4 hits and 3 errors. All 3 of those errors came in the top of the 1st. That paved the way for 4 runs to score for Ottawa, and the Lynx have been on top ever since, holding the 6-1 lead. We have a gorgeous night for baseball here in Syracuse. The temperature hovering in the 70s. Plenty of sunlight here at the ballpark on the boulevard, and fans still continue to file in since this game was listed on the schedule as a 7 o'clock start. I'm sure some folks were not aware of the fact that we had a doubleheader beginning at 6. Let's take a look at the Ottawa Lynx batting order under manager Pete McCannon. Batting first and playing center, Jim Boucheri. Hitting second and playing at second base, Kevin Castleberry. The designated hitter, Ted Wood, bats third. He has already hit a home run in this ball game. Batting cleanup and playing at first base, Guillermo Velasquez. Hitting fifth, the right fielder, Yamil Benitez. Batting sixth, left fielder, Curtis Pride. Hitting seventh, the longtime major leaguer playing at shortstop for Ottawa, Tom Foley. Hitting eighth, the third baseman, F.P. Santangelo. And hitting ninth and doing the catching for the Lynx, Joe Siddle. Looking at the Chiefs' defensive alignment, Eric Brooks is the catcher. Jason Townley, generally a catcher, is playing at first base. He got a start against the left-handed pitcher to give Syracuse more right-handed bats in the lineup. Felipe Crespo is at second base. Tilson Brito is the shortstop, and Howard Battle is around at third. In the outfield, it's Joe Liss in left, Willie Kenyatte in center, and Robert Perez in right. The starting pitcher for Syracuse was Mike York, but we have a change as we go to the 4th as Dwayne Ward takes over. Our timing perfect as we'll get to see the former American League All-Star pitch at least an inning, perhaps only an inning for Syracuse, as he tries to come back from shoulder surgery that caused him to miss all of last season. His first pitch of the 4th inning to F.P. Santangelo, high and away for ball 1. We saw Dwayne Ward pitch for Syracuse in 1986 and 1987 after coming over in a trade from the Detroit Tigers. I beg your pardon, from the Atlanta Braves. And Ward matured after being moved from being a starting pitcher to a short reliever into one of the best relief pitchers in all of baseball. His 2-0 pitch to Santangelo, hit on the ground to the right side, past diving first baseman Jason Townley, and into right field for a leadoff single.
For Tom Henke, before Henke left, and they made Ward the stopper in the bullpen. As you can see, a fastball, probably a little more of the plate than he wanted to right there, Dan, and that's why he's down here. He's trying to get himself back in the groove and throwing the ball like he used to. But he was the setup man, and then he became, when Henke was traded, he took over the spot of short relief, and he did a marvelous job for them for the last 3 seasons.
Certainly did. Joe Siddle, the batter, and he takes a Ward fastball for a strike. Prior to the injury, Dwayne Ward was one of the hardest throwing pitchers in Major League Baseball, consistently timed in the mid-90s, throwing the good hard fastball and mixing in the wicked slider. And those were his bread and butter pitches for the Blue Jays.
Well, no opponent batted over 207. I mean, he had an average of 207 against him as a pitcher over the course of the last 3 seasons. That's an excellent ratio rate, or batting average, to be thrown against opposing hitters.
The runner at first is going. The pitch is a ball. The throw down to second base. Skips into center field. Recovered quickly by the center fielder Kenyatte, and no additional advancement by F.P. Santangelo. He does pick up a stolen base. He's in scoring position, and the count is a ball and a strike to Joe Siddle.
You get a chance to see this is a tough ball for Brooks to throw. He threw from his knees on that low inside fastball. A tough pitch to try to throw a runner out on. Brooks gave it his best shot, but it was from his knees, and he couldn't get enough on it to get it down there in time.
You see the score, Ottawa 6, Syracuse 1. We're in the 4th inning, and keep in mind, in the International League, doubleheaders consist of 2 7-inning games. Syracuse doesn't have as much time to come back. A slow breaking pitch from Ward that's called a strike, and the count's 1-2.
Early on, I'm just seeing a little bit of tentativeness on Dwayne Ward's behalf and not letting the ball go. Arm speed's a little slow right now, and that's going to just take a little bit of time for him to feel confident.
Comes back with another off-speed pitch, and Siddle pulls it foul. The count stays at a ball and 2 strikes. Dwayne Ward's shoulder began hurting him August of '93. Obviously, he kept pitching despite the pain and helped the Blue Jays win their 2nd consecutive World Series. But he shut it down for about a week or so in August of '93. Had a cortisone shot in his shoulder and pitched through the rest of the season and did very well. There's a swing, a line drive to right. That's a base hit for Siddle. Santangelo got a late start, but he is being waved home. Perez throws into second base, and the run scores. Ottawa gets a quick run against Dwayne Ward and leads the game 7-1.
Well, that was on breaking ball right there. And again, I think if you consistently watch his arm action, he's not really throwing the ball hard. I think, again, coming off a shoulder injury, maybe he's afraid to cut it loose. And again, that's why he's down here. I think it's going to take a little bit of time. As long as there's no pain, I think the longer he goes, the better it'll feel for him.
Jim Boucheri up, and Ward misses low and outside for ball 1. Dwayne thinks that he pitched with fairly serious rotator cuff damage for the last couple of months of the '93 season, but didn't really feel the pain because of the cortisone shot. That's the danger of having those painkillers. As Ward throws a strike, the count is 1-1. And then after the season, he took a 1-month break, which was always his custom. After a month, decided to go out and play catch and could barely throw the ball. And then a few days later, as he tells it, getting out of bed one day, he tried to lift the covers off him with his right arm and could not even do that. And he knew at that point it was serious trouble. Spins and throws over to first, and the runner gets back safely.
Well, you know, my philosophy on cortisone, for a healing process, that's fine, but in order to just kill the pain so you can go out there and continue to pitch, I don't like the idea of just go out there without the pain, because the body's telling you something's wrong with your arm. You better slow up or stop. It's almost like you dropping your muffler and rolling up your windows so you don't hear it drag, you know. Your body's telling you that there's something wrong with it and you got to relax and take it easy for a while. You inject that cortisone and throw yourself out there, you're doing more damage.
Did you see me drive into the parking lot or something tonight? 2-1 pitch. Misses a little bit outside to count 3 balls and a strike to Jim Boucheri. Dwayne Ward was actually happy to get the opportunity to come down and pitch for Syracuse because he was not being used up in Toronto. The Blue Jays didn't have situations where they felt they could put him out there. A swing and a fly ball hit to right. Robert Perez moves under it and makes the catch. That's the first out here in the top of the 4th inning. Ottawa leading 7-1. Over the first month of the season, Ward pitched in 1 game for Toronto. And trying to come back from a year's inactivity, he needed consistent work and simply couldn't get it at that level because he did not have his consistency back. So he got the opportunity to come down to Syracuse on the 20-day rehab program, and he has essentially pitched every other day since joining Syracuse. The runner at first takes off. The pitch is high for a ball. The throw down is in time for the out. Joe Siddle, a catcher who generally does not steal bases, is thrown out by Syracuse catcher Eric Brooks, and that's the second out.
I don't believe that was a straight steal. I think he was a delay steal because he hesitated and then took off. You can't see it at this angle, but he was still at first base. He took off right now, and there you can see Brooks picking it up, throwing a nice little one-hopper, second base.
Shortstop Tilson Brito applying the tag for the second out of the inning. Pitch to Castleberry, misses high, and it's 2 balls and no strikes. Ward comes in with a fastball. It looked like that might have had a little more on it, and the count's 2-1. That definitely popped into the mitt, and the count's 2 balls and 2 strikes.
As you can see, and you've talked about that he's pitching on an every other day, and that's what he's got to do to get his arm strength back.
Comes in with a nasty breaking pitch. Castleberry swings and misses, and Ward gets the strikeout to end the inning. Ottawa picks up 1 run. It comes on 2 base hits, no Syracuse errors, and no runners left on base. Our score in the middle of the 4th inning in Game 1 of the doubleheader, the Ottawa Lynx 7 and the Syracuse Chiefs 1.
Mystery, the majesty, the magic, and the man who will take you on this marvelous journey. Madagascar, Island of Spirits, a Cousteau special, premiering Sunday, June 11th, 10 Eastern, 7 Pacific, on TBS.
These people aren't actors. And they don't work at Kerner Ford.
The service was just excellent.
They're right there to help you. Very good. That's what I like.
They're just people like you.
I've never missed a day's work, and my car is my work. Service department is outstanding. I tell people about Kerner's service department, and they don't believe it.
If word of mouth is the best form of advertising, need we say any more?
Let's take a look at the batting order for Bob Didier's Syracuse Chiefs. Felipe Crespo, the second baseman, hits leadoff. Shortstop Tilson Brito bats second. The red-hot Robert Perez in right field bats third. The cleanup hitter is third baseman Howard Battle. Joe List plays left field and bats fifth. Jason Townley getting a start at first base, bats sixth. Center fielder Willie Kenyatte hits seventh. The catcher Eric Brooks bats eighth. And the designated hitter against the left-handed starting pitcher, Brent Lutz, bats ninth. Kirk Reeder on the mound for the Ottawa Lynx. He is an interesting story as he broke into the major leagues with great fanfare got off to an unbelievable start and then began to struggle and was sent back to the AAA level. He has a 7-1 lead in the 4th inning of Game 1 tonight. Jason Townley took ball 1. And now the Chiefs first baseman takes outside for ball 2. Townley swings, a grounder up the middle, and it's into center field for a leadoff single. Jason Townley, who's had a rough night, he had 2 errors in the top of the 1st inning, and also dropped a throw from third base, on which the third baseman was charged with an error, but Townley might have been able to make the play. He struck out with the bases loaded his first time up. So to this point of the game, it had not been Townley's night. But he has a leadoff single here in the bottom of the 4th, and the batter is Willie Kenyatte. Kenyatte having a good series, a couple of hits last night, a single his first time up tonight. And Kenyatte takes ball 1 from Kirk Reeder. Reeder, a somewhat typical left-handed pitcher, not overpowering, but pitches to spots, and when he has good location, can be very effective. There's a called strike to Kenyatte, and it's 1-1.
Well, before I came up in the booth when this game got started, Dan, I was sitting behind home plate, and he's got an excellent sinker. His ball dives, a natural sinking fastball.
A chopper hit toward first, charged by Velasquez. He throws down to second base, and with the slow-moving Townley going between first and second, Ottawa is able to get the lead runner for the first out of the inning.
Well, Velasquez there knew he wasn't going to turn the double play, and he just made sure of the one. A lot of young kids that are watching this think they can perform miracles out of this, and are going to try to turn 2 and throw the ball hard to second base. As you can see, Velasquez just made a nice, easy throw to second base, making sure of 1.
So runner at first with 1 out. Eric Brooks, the hitter for Syracuse. And he takes Kirk Reeder's delivery inside for ball 1. Kirk Reeder won his first 10 major league decisions. Think of that, 10-0 at the major league level, breaking into his career. Kenyatte running on the pitch. Brooks swings and lines one to left for a base hit. The ball was hit too sharply for the runner to go from first to third, even though he was going on the pitch. Syracuse with runners at first and second. 1 out, and Brent Lutz coming up next.
Well, you know, this ball is tagged right here because it's a 1-hopper to the left fielder. And he hit it right on the line. Call it what you may, a frozen rope. You can hang clothes on it. But that's as hard as you can hit a ball right there.
Lutz has struggled in his first AAA season. His batting average at 162. He swings, he fouls it back to the net, and the count is 0-1. Reeder began the season with the Expos in their rotation. He started the year 0-2. He had given up 9 earned runs in less than 8 innings when he was sent down to AAA. The Expos pitching coach, Joe Kerrigan, said that Reeder was a classic victim of the strike. Now a swing and a fly ball hit into shallow right center. The right fielder Yamil Benitez makes the catch. That's the second out of the inning. According to the Expos pitching coach, they had plans to break down Reeder's delivery. They were going to do that in spring training because his mechanics had gotten out of kilter. He was pitching more like a power pitcher instead of a guy who relies on location. They wanted to break down that delivery in spring training, and since it was shortened, they didn't have a chance to do that. He started off horribly and got sent down to the minor leagues.
Well, that's tough, especially with the success that he's had. And again, there's been many casualties in that strike, and he happens to be one of them.
Felipe Crespo up. And the switch hitting second baseman takes one outside for ball 1. Crespo struck out looking in the first and struck out swinging in the second. So Felipe, with a .313 batting average, is 0 for 2 so far tonight. Chiefs are down by a half dozen. A swing and a fly ball to center, fairly well hit, but Boucheri goes back and uses the vast center field here at MacArthur Stadium to make the catch and end the inning. No runs on a couple of hits, no Ottawa errors, and 2 runners left on base. Our score after 4 in Game 1 of the Twin Bill, Ottawa 7 and Syracuse 1.
Hi, I'm Ted Long.
And I'm Amy Robbins.
And we finally made it to TV.
That's right, on Cable 13's new weekend preview. If you want to know what's up in Syracuse, watch us.
We'll give you the who, what, where, and when, everything you need to know to make your weekend count.
Sports, arts, music, theater, entertainment, we got it all here at Weekend Preview.
Catch us on Thursdays at 10 p.m. and Fridays at 7 p.m. on your neighborhood network.
Cable 13.
I'm Roy Bernardi. All of us in central New York can help the families affected by the tragedy in Oklahoma City. A local support fund has been established in conjunction with Key Bank and the American Red Cross. Please drop off your monetary contribution at any Key Bank or mail it to New York Supports Oklahoma City Families, care of the Office of the Mayor, 203 City Hall, Syracuse, New York, 13202.
A great night for 2 ball games here in Syracuse. We're in the top of the 5th inning in Game 1. This will be a 7-inning game, and Ottawa leads Syracuse 7-1. We have a pitching change for the Chiefs as big left-hander Dennis Gray comes into the game. Dennis with 2 wins and 1 loss. No saves and a 4.50 earned run average. Gray is 6'5", 225 pounds. Kind of size that scouts drool over, especially out of a left-handed pitcher who can put something on the ball.
He's a fine-looking pitcher here, and he's had some success early on in the season. He's only had, as the stats were just put up there, he's only had 16 innings this year, but he's got a 2-1 record, and his opponents are only hitting .224, so he's throwing the ball very well thus far this year.
Dennis pitching exclusively in relief so far this season. This will be his 11th relief outing. Left-handed swinging Ted Wood leads it off for Ottawa, and as you can see, he belted a home run in this game. A 2-run poke hit to the opposite field back in the 2nd inning. Wood gets around a little bit late, shoots that one into the stands, and the battle is underway for the souvenir. The count is 0-1. Mike York started for Syracuse. Dwayne Ward was next. Ward pitching 1 inning, which is the schedule for the big right-hander, and now Gray takes over here in the 5th. A ground ball to second base, gloved by Crespo, and he throws to first in time for the out. We came on after York had completed his innings. York, an interesting story. A guy who had what's known as Tommy John surgery on his elbow back in March of '93, where they take a ligament from another part of your body and put it into your elbow. Last year he had a bone shaved on his pitching arm because he wasn't able to straighten his arm, and he also had some scar tissue removed from his elbow. Matt Michael from the Post-Standard, who has the Chiefs beat, said his arm is a pretty ugly sight. Guillermo Velasquez at the plate. Count no balls and a strike. Pretty tough to fit Guillermo Velasquez into our graphics. He is G. Velasquez, and he takes a ball that's 1-1. Guillermo reached on an error and scored a run in the 1st inning. A ground ball hit to the right side. It gets by first baseman Jason Townley, trying to make the extended backhand pickup, and Velasquez has a 1-out single here in the 5th.
I say he hung in there pretty good off a left-hander right here. Fastball right down the middle. Hit it hard, and perfect placement right there between second and first.
So Velasquez aboard at first. Yamil Benitez is the hitter. Benitez has struck out both times up, once swinging and once looking. Gray pitches, a swing and a line drive to right, a base hit for Benitez. Velasquez goes to second and hits the brakes. Robert Perez throws it back in from right field for Syracuse. And Curtis Pride is coming up next.
Now the fastball found the heart of the plate. And again to the right side for back-to-back hits here. It's kind of tough. Somebody like Gray coming in the game, you got a 7-1 deficit you're pitching up against, and it's tough. The hitters are in there pretty loose. I think sometimes it's hard to keep yourself focused on the fact that you might still be in this ball game. And I think that's the most difficult thing that Dennis Gray is facing right now.
The hitter for Ottawa, one of the most inspirational players in minor league baseball, Curtis Pride, who takes a pitch high for ball one. Pride was born deaf, but he is an outstanding athlete, was an excellent student in his high school and college days, as he swings and fouls one off, evening the count at 1-1. And he is an inspiration to deaf kids, especially in Canada, for the way he has been able to succeed both in athletics and academics. 1-1 pitch. A swing and a looper hit behind the shortstop. It gets past Tilson Brito and goes to left for a single. Curtis Pride has a couple of bloop hits in this game. And the bases are loaded with one out here in the fifth. And shortstop Tom Foley coming up.
It got in on the kitchen on this one, but Pride strong enough to fight it off and just getting the ball out of the reach of Brito right there.
Tom Foley.
You know, Gray's got himself a situation. We got the bases loaded and only one out. He's faced, at the last three batters, or four batters that he's faced, three have been left-handers. And again, when you're trying to push yourself, these are the guys you have to get out. You said he's gifted with the left arm. This is who you have to prove you can get out, because there's positions in the big leagues for those who can get out left-handed.
Possible double play ball. Crespo steps on second, throws to first, and Gray gets out of the inning with a pitcher's best friend, the 4-3 double play. No runs despite 3 hits for the Ottawa Lynx. No Syracuse errors. 2 runners left on in the top of the fifth. And our score in the middle of the fifth in game 1, the Ottawa Lynx 7 and the Syracuse Chiefs 1.
So you're traveling through town. You're in Syracuse, for instance. Maybe you're like me. You live in Austin, Texas. You're thinking, I'd like to watch something on the TV that won't bum me out, that won't insult my intelligence. What would I watch? If you were like me, you'd watch Acoustic Cafe. I'm Hamill on Trial. Thank you very much for your support, and keep watching. Thank you.
Sure, that was the night. That was the night that changed my life for sure.
Yo, dude. Been thinking?
These are some winners from last year's Clear Minds, Clear Messages About Alcohol contest. The contest that got everyone talking about what's really going on with alcohol. If you're in grades 1 through 12, we want to hear from you. Just come up with a radio or television commercial, essay, poster, or t-shirt design that shows how you feel about alcohol. All winning messages will be produced. Ask your principal for details.
On to the bottom of the fifth in game 1 of our doubleheader. Dan Hort and Steve Grilly, happy to have you watching tonight. Ottawa leading Syracuse 7-1. The Chiefs will have the heart of the order coming up in the bottom of the fifth. Nice hat.
I'm looking for his fishing rod down there. A beautiful night here.
They use fishing poles to get autographs in Pawtucket. The top row of the stands is more than 10 feet from the grounds. In order to get something down to have it signed, a lot of the kids will bring fishing poles and dangle baseballs or baseball cards off the end of the rod and reel.
I've seen some fishing nets, too, to catch foul balls. I think Joel Marinas, for a while, had one in the booth there. And he made it a habit of trying to get some foul balls up in the radio booth area.
Mm-hmm. But after 3 or 4 years of consistently missing, he hung it up. Tilson Brito had an RBI single his last time up. One of the heroes of last night's 5-2 win for Syracuse. He's brushed back by Kirk Reeder, and the count's a ball and 2 strikes. A couple of interesting notes off the baseball wire today. For one thing, the Blue Jays second baseman, Roberto Alomar, has been suspended for a couple of games for what is being called overly aggressive behavior and throwing equipment during a game against Texas about a week ago. Count goes to 2-2 on Brito. Overly aggressive behavior and throwing equipment is worth 2 games these days. It's interesting. Count goes to 3-2.
The suspension is being delayed, though, because he is appealing it.
So until he has a meeting in the American League office, he will continue to play for the Jays. Grounder hit to third. It took a kangaroo hop, but F.P. Santangelo stayed with it nicely. And his throw to first just barely in time to get Tilson Brito.
Santangelo made what you call a big league play. He picked the hop out he wanted. It brought him deep in the hole, right where the shortstop was ready to pick it up. And if you watch, he planted his foot and he made a beautiful throw to first base. He took his time, but then he gunned it. I'd say that's a big league play. And he did have him. Had him by a half a step, maybe even less. Big league play right there.
Robert Perez up, and Robert takes inside for a ball. He singled his first time up, flied to right his second time up. Perez swings and fouls it off. The count's a ball and a strike. Another interesting note off the baseball wire today is that the Atlanta Braves released former Chief and former NLCS hero Francisco Cabrera from his AAA contract. Frankie played in Japan last year. Here's a swing and a line drive hit out to center. That's a base hit for Robert Perez, who continues to swing a hot stick, batting .349 prior to that single, so that base hit will boost him over .350.
And he was all over this one right here. A breaking ball that kind of hung up there. Hit it right on the nose.
Perez was 6th in the league in hitting at the start of the night. Howard battled the batter. Howard had a single his first time up. Popped up his second time up, and he takes a reader breaking pitch outside for ball one. Howard Battle, one of 3 Syracuse Chiefs, recently pictured in Baseball Weekly, the USA Today's Baseball Weekly, as he fouls one back. And in the picture, he is holding a salami as if it's a baseball bat over his right shoulder, along with teammates John Ramos and Rich Butler, all because they hit grand salamis, in the words of radio broadcaster Joel Marinas. Joel provides a big salami to any Syracuse player who hits a grand slam home run. He's doled out 3 so far, and he has 3 stored away in the fridge. Pitch to Battle is inside. The count goes to 3 balls and a strike.
Well, Joel's doing a great job as far as getting some publicity. Last year, he was on ESPN when he took the pie in the face.
That's right.
Well, during the strike. And,
Weasel. Here's a chopper hit toward the hole. That's a base hit to left, past the diving shortstop, Foley. So Perez and Battle have back-to-back singles here in the 5th, just as they did back in the 1st. And with 2 men on, Joe Liss will be up next.
Well, we can sure use a grand salami right here, even though the bases aren't low. And I say, well, Liss can get on. If we can get 4 runs in an inning, we make a ball game out of this one right here.
Syracuse is trailing by 6. It's a 7-1 game in the home 5th. And once again, this game is only 7 innings long, unless, of course, it's tied at the end of 7. Reader's pitch. Fastball that's called a strike by C.B. Bucknor, the home plate ump.
Liss wasn't too pleased with that. Looked like it might have been a little bit inside from up here in the booth.
There's a hot smash to second, gloved by Castleberry. He goes to Foley for 1, and Foley fires to Velasquez for the double play that ends the inning. No runs, 2 hits, and 1 man left. So the Chiefs threatened but failed to score in the bottom of the 5th inning. And our score at the end of 5, the Ottawa Lynx 7 and the Syracuse Chiefs 1.
Tommy!
Aunt Kibby.
Your mother told me to stop by your new apartment during breakfast time.
It's the FX apartment. It's not really mine. And breakfast time is a live morning show that I do with Lori Hibbert. You don't have to cook. You know, news, stories from around the country.
Tell me that plan, will you, dear?
We go to millions of people.
Millions of people? We'll need more eggs. Here's $5, dear. Run down to the store.
Kids Views is a program for kids, by kids, for kids. We wanted to know some things and do some things, so we did that, with a little help, of course. So watch and you'll see what you want to see, because we did it for all of us. Watch Kids News every Wednesday at 8 o'clock p.m. and Fridays at 6:30 p.m. Only on Cable 13, your neighborhood network.
Top of the 6th inning in game 1 of a doubleheader. The Ottawa Lynx leading the Syracuse Chiefs 7-1. And there he is, the man we mentioned moments ago, veteran broadcaster Joel Marinas, the man who once said, "There's nothing more exciting in the game of baseball than a grand slam home run with the bases loaded."
He's got some yogi-isms in him, doesn't he?
Terrific guy. No one's more enthusiastic about Chiefs baseball. You can see the stats he has taped to the wall. Fortunately, from time to time, that'll cause you to look away from the action and miss something. But in any case, good buddy Joel enjoying his radio call of tonight's doubleheader between Syracuse and Ottawa. FP Santangelo leads off for Ottawa here in the 6th. FP standing for fantastic player. So he wishes. I think it's Francis something. Gray's pitch swung on and missed by Santangelo. They count 0-1. Santangelo singled and scored against Dwayne Ward his last time up. Dennis Gray misses up and away, and the count's a ball and a strike. The 6'5" lefty pitches and pulls it foul. The count 1-2. How tall is your son, Steve?
He's right now about 6'4½".
So just like Dennis Gray, your son Jason Grilly, who had a terrific first season for Seton Hall, has the height that scouts drool over. A chopper off the plate, hit toward the left side, Battle charges and throws to first. Townley pulling his foot off the bag, but he kept it there just long enough to get the out.
You're right, when they're looking at, especially pitchers, they're looking for that tall, lanky frame. But then again, you look at a Kenny Robinson, and to me, I want the heart of a Kenny Robinson. And the last broadcast we did, he came in, we showed that I think Mambouquet was pulling his hair out because of all the walks. And then you get a guy like Kenny Robinson that comes in, he's got good stuff, throws the ball right at you, challenges you. So there's a lot more than just having a good frame on it. It helps, but